Hi, my name is NURUL binti Shudairi, and I will be presenting the introduction of higher education in national development. Higher education is a key driver of economic growth because it develops skilled human capital, supports social mobility, and enhances a country's competitiveness in a global economy. In Malaysia, access to higher education has expanded through public and private institutions, including university, polytechnic, and TVET providers. This expansion has increased educational opportunities for diverse socio-economic groups. However, rapid global changes such as the Fourth Industrial Revolution, digitalization, and automation have transformed the nature of work and skills requirements. Employers now require graduates who are not only academically competent but also adaptable, equipped with soft skills, and also guided by strong ethical values. Therefore, systematic reform in higher education is essential to ensure long-term sustainability and alignment with national and global demands. This slide explains the background of the Malaysia Education Blueprint 2015 until 2025 for higher education. First, the blueprint was introduced as a long-term reform agenda to address ongoing challenges in Malaysia's higher education system despite significant expansions over the year. Second, the policy was developed through extensive consultation with the key stakeholders, including academia, industry, and policymakers, ensuring that the reform agenda reflects practical needs and national priorities. Third, the blueprints aim to address structural weaknesses in higher education, such as curriculum relevance, governance, funding efficiency, and equity. These issues highlighted the need for a comprehensive and coordinated reform approach. Fourth, the policy focused on improving quality, equity, governance, and global competitiveness with the goal of producing graduates who are better prepared for future economic and also the social challenges. And finally, the blueprints aligns higher education development with Malaysia's national development goals, ensuring the long-term sustainability and relevance. In this slide summarizes the key policy problems in Malaysia's higher education system. These include graduate employability and skills mismatch, governance and institutional constraint, equity and inclusiveness issues, concern over the quality and relevance of higher education, and financial sustainability challenges. Each of these policy problems will be explained in detail one by one. The first two major policy problems in Malaysia's higher education system. The first problem is graduate employability and skills mismatch. There is a rising number of unemployed and underemployed graduates, largely due to a mismatch between academic curricula and industry needs. Many programs place greater emphasis on theoretical knowledge rather than practical and work-ready skills. In addition, limited industry exposure and work-based learning opportunities weaken the development of soft skills and adaptability required by the employers. The second problem relates to the quality and relevance of higher education. Teaching practices in many institutions remain examination-oriented with limited use of student-centered and experiential learning approaches. The uneven adoption of outcome-based education further affect learning quality. Moreover, research output is not sufficiently translated into innovation, partly due to weak collaboration between university and industry. Together, these issues highlight the need for comprehensive reform to improve graduate outcomes and ensure higher education remains relevant to national. Is the third and fourth policy problems in Malaysia's higher education system. The third problem is governance and institutional constraint. Public universities have limited institutional autonomy, particularly in areas such as financial management, staff requirement, and academic program design. Decision-making processes are highly centralized, which reduce flexibility and slows institutional responses to global and industry changes. These bureaucratic inefficiencies negatively affect overall system performance and institutional effectiveness. The fourth problem relates to financial sustainability challenges. Public universities remain heavily dependent on government funding, making them vulnerable to fiscal constraints and budget fluctuations. At the same time, income diversification among universities is limited, restricting long-term investment in infrastructure, talent, and innovation. In addition, student loan repayment and affordability concerns pose further challenges. Graduates who struggle to secure stable employment often face difficulty repaying their education loans, raising concern about the sustainability of student financing and access to the higher education in the future. Together, these governance and financial issues further justify the need for comprehensive higher education. Last is the equity and inclusiveness issue in higher education. Socioeconomic disparities continue to affect student access to higher education and their learning outcome, particularly among those from low-income families. Rural and disadvantaged students often face learning barriers such as limited institutional support and fewer educational opportunities. Unequal access to digital resources also contribute to learning gaps, especially as digital learning becomes more important. In addition, limited interaction among diverse student groups creates challenges in promoting national unity and social cohesion within society.
Assalamualaikum, my name is IDRIS from SIDEK and I will explain the key policy objective of Malaysia Education Blueprint 2015 to 2025. The first objective is to develop holistic, entrepreneurial and employable graduates. This objective directly addresses the issue of graduate unemployment and skill mismatch. The policy emphasizes that graduates must not only be academically competent but also equipped with essential soft skills such as communication, critical thinking, teamwork and adaptability. In addition, entrepreneurship is strongly promoted so that graduates are capable of creating opportunities and contributing effectively to the labour market. The second objective is to improve the quality of global competitiveness of higher education institutions. This involves strengthening teaching quality, research performance and institutional governance. By aligning with international standards, Malaysia universities aim to enhance their global reputation and position Malaysia as a competitive regional and international education hub. The third objective is to expand access and promote lifelong learning. The blueprint recognizes that higher education must be inclusive and flexible. Therefore, it supports multiple learning pathways such as part-time study, online learning and modular program. This ensures that working adults, non-traditional learners and disadvantaged groups have equal opportunities to upskill, reskill and improve their socio-economic mobility. Next, the fourth objective is to strengthen technical and vocational education and training, or we call it TVET. This objective focuses on improving the quality, relevance and industry alignment of TVET programs. Through stronger collaboration with industries and increased work-based learning, TVET graduates become more employable and better prepared for meet current workforce demand. The final objective is to ensure sustainable governance and financial resilience. This policy promotes greater institutional autonomy, accountability and efficiency in university management. Higher education institutions are encouraged to diversify their funding source and reduce dependence on government's funding, ensuring the long-term sustainability and continuous improvement for the universities. I will discuss the key policy strategies introduced under the Malaysia Education Blueprint 2015 to 2035 for higher strategy is curriculum reform and student-centered learning. This strategy shifts higher education away from traditional lecture-based teaching toward outcome-based and experiential learning. It emphasizes problem-based learning, internship, service learning and industry exposure to ensure students develop practical skills, critical thinking and real-world competencies aligned with labour market needed. The The second strategy is focus on enhancing teaching quality and academic talent development. The blueprint recognizes that high quality education depends on competent educator. Therefore, structured training program, continuous professional development, teaching certification, and performance incentive are introduced to strengthen teaching effectiveness and research excellence among academic staff. The third strategy is flexible learning pathway and digital education. These strategies expand the use of online learning, MOOCs, and blending learning. It allows students to access education more flexible, such as working adults and non-traditional learners, supporting lifelong learning, upskilling, and reskilling, and it will improve the economy. The fourth strategy emphasizes industry collaboration and TVET alignment. The blueprint promotes strong partnership between higher education institutions, training providers, and industries. Through practical, work-based learning, and technical certification, TVET programs become more relevant, improving graduates' employability and addressing workforce aspects. The final strategy is governance reform and financial sustainability. This strategy aims to improve efficiency and accountability by granting greater autonomy to institutions while strengthening performance monitoring. Universities are encouraged to diversify their income sources such as research globalization, industry collaboration, alumni contribution, and international student recruitment to ensure long-term financial resilience for the universities. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Muhammad FAUZAN bin Rahman, student number 2024687722. So today I will discuss the key strength part of the Malaysia Educational Blueprint 2015 until 2025 for higher education and how it's contribute to development of the effective, inclusive and globally competitive higher education system in Malaysia. So firstly, one of the most important strengths of the blueprint is its integrated and comprehensive policy framework. The blueprint recognizes that challenges in higher education such as access to education, quality of teaching and learning, funding sustainability, governance structure and innovation cannot be addressed in isolation. Instead, these issues are closely interconnected and require coordinated approach. By addressing them collectively, the blueprint provides a clear long-term roadmap that aligns higher education reform with Malaysian national development goals, including economic growth, social mobility, and talent development. This integrated approach also ensures policy consistency across public and private higher education institutions. Secondly, the blueprint places strong emphasis on holistic graduate development, which practically relevant into the competitiveness and rapidly changing job market, rather than focusing solely on academic achievement. The policy highlights the importance of soft skills such as communication, teamwork, critical thinking, and problem solving. It also promotes ethical value, leadership qualities, and entrepreneurship mindset among students. This shift responds directly to employer feedback that many graduates lack workplace readiness. By nurturing well-rounded individuals, the blueprints aim to produce graduates who are not only knowledgeable but also adaptable, resilient, and capable of contributing meaningfully to society and the economy. Another key strength of the blueprint is the introduction of performance-based funding combined with increased institutional autonomy. Under this approach, higher education institutions are evaluated based on measurable outcomes such as graduate employability rates, research output, teaching quality, and industry engagement. Institutions that demonstrate strong performance are granted greater autonomy in academic, financial, and administrative decision-making. This encourages universities to become more accountable, innovative, and strategic in managing their resources. As a result, institutions are motivated to continuously improve their standard and align their programs with national and industry needs. In addition, the blueprint strongly promotes collaboration between higher education institutions and industry. This includes the development industry-informed circular structure internship programs and joint research initiative. Through this collaboration, students gain practical exposure to real working environments, allowing them to apply theoretical knowledge in real-world content, such as experiences, student confidence, professional skill, and employability upon graduation. At the same time, industry benefit from gaining access to fresh talent and research expertise, creating a mutual beneficial relationship between academia and the private sector. Furthermore, the blueprint emphasizes global competitiveness and internationalism of Malaysian higher education. Efforts are made to improve research quality, attract international students, and establish partnership with reputable foreign institutions. The expansion of digital and blended learning also plays a crucial role in increasing the access and flexibility, particularly for long life learning and working adults. This initiative supports Malaysia's ambition to position itself as a regional education hub and to remain competitiveness in the global knowledge economy. So, in conclusion, the Malaysia Education Blueprint 2015 until 2025 for higher education demonstrates several key strengths, including its integrated policy framework focused on holistic graduate development, performance-based funding with institutional autonomy, strong industry collaboration, and emphasizes on global competitiveness. Collectively, these strengths contribute to the creation of the higher education system that is more resilient, innovative, responsive to the future challenges. The blueprint plays a vital role in preparing graduates who are capable of supporting Malaysia's long-term economic and social development. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Muhammad SAUFI bin JAPRI and my matric number is 2023-2049-8C. Today, I will present the weakness of the Malaysia Education Blueprint 2015 to 2025 Higher Education. There are 5 weaknesses. Implementation gap between policy and practice. The blueprint strongly promotes ICT and digital learning. However, many rural schools still face problems such as weak internet connection, lack of computer, and limited technical support. Programs like One Bestari Net and Frog VLE were more successfully used in urban schools. As a result, students in urban areas benefit more from digital learning compared to those in rural areas. Second, teacher readiness and increased workload. Teachers are required to implement school-based assessment and new teaching approaches like PAK 21. At the same time, they have to handle many administrative tasks such as data entry and reporting. This heavy workload reduces the time teachers can spend on lesson preparation and student interaction. Consequently, teaching effectiveness is affected and teacher stress increases. Third, inequality in access and educational outcome. During online learning or PDPR, many students from B40 families and rural areas did not have proper devices, stable internet, or suitable learning environment. In contrast, urban students had more better access to technology and learning support. This situation widens the learning gap and goes against the blueprint goal of providing equal education opportunities. Next, over-ambitious target within a limited time frame. The blueprint introduced many major reforms, including curriculum changes, assessment reform, teacher quality improvement, and technology integration, all within a 10 years period. However, deep changes in education system usually take longer to show result. Because of this, some initiatives were not fully achieved and progress differed across schools. And lastly, weak monitoring and resistance to change. Monitoring and evaluation depend heavily on school reporting systems, which are not always consistent. In many cases, reports focus more on meeting requirements rather than actual student learning outcome. In addition, some teachers and parents resist student-centered approaches like PAK 21, preferring traditional exam-based method. This resistance slows down education reform. That's all from me. Thank you.
Based on the weaknesses discussed earlier, this slide presents the key recommendation proposed in this study. This recommendation focus on improving teaching and learning, industry and employability, TVET development, faculty quality, governance and quality assurance, digital equity, and the last one, accountability and transparency. Further explanation for each recommendation will be discussed in the following slide. First, strengthening teaching and learning practices is essential. Outcome-based education should be more consistently implemented across institutions to ensure that students will achieve clearly defined learning outcomes. This includes standardizing the assessment of 21st century skills such as critical thinking, communication, and problem solving. In addition, closer alignment between teaching strategy and assessment method is required so that what is taught in the classroom will accurately reflected in how students are evaluated. Next, stronger integration between higher education and industry is necessary to enhance the graduate employability. Industrial learning outcomes should be standardized to ensure that all students receive meaningful and relevant workplace exposure. Improved supervision and structured assessment during industrial training will help students to gain practical skills aligned with their field of study. Furthermore, increasing accountability among industry partners is crucial to ensure that experiential learning contributes effectively to student professional development. Another key recommendation focuses on the development of technical and vocational education and training, or TVET. Public perception of TVET need to be improved by emphasizing strong employment prospect, competitive income level, and clear career progression opportunity for graduates. Additionally, early and structured career guidance should be provided so that students and parents are well informed about TVET pathway as valuable alternative to traditional academic route. Next, faculty quality play a vital role in delivering relevant and high-quality education. Lecturers and instructors should be given a greater opportunity for industry exposure to ensure that teaching remains current and aligned with the industry needs. Incentive for professional certification and applied industry engagement should be introduced. Most importantly, industry collaboration should be formally recognized within promotion and performance appraisal system to encourage sustained faculty involvement. Governance and quality assurance. Effective governance and quality assurance are also critical. Institutional autonomy must be clearly defined so so that university and college have the flexibility to innovate while remaining accountable. Governance monitoring mechanism should be strengthened to ensure consistent standard across institutions. At the same time, integrating accreditation and quality assurance system through digital platform would improve transparency, efficiency, and coordination. Digital equity. In line with the increasing emphasis on digital and online learning, issue of digital equity must be addressed. Students should have improved access to learning device and affordable, reliable internet connectivity. Additionally, structured digital literacy training is necessary to ensure that all students can effectively participate in online and blended learning environment. Without this measure, digital transformation risks widening existing educational inequalities. The last one is accountability and transparency. Accountability and transparency are essential for sustaining public trust in higher education reforms. Monitoring mechanisms should be strengthened to track institutional performance and policy outcome more effectively. Publishing annual performance and transformation report would allow stakeholders to evaluate progress, identify gaps, and support continuous improvement across the higher education sector. Ultimately, all these recommendations aim to produce skilled and adaptable graduates who are ready to meet industry demand. By aligning education with workforce needs, strengthening governance, and promoting equity, Malaysia's higher education system can become more competitive on a global scale. In this final part of the presentation, I will highlight 5 key points that summarize the overall strength, challenge, and future direction of the Malaysia Education Blueprint. First, the Malaysia Education Blueprint represents an ambitious and holistic reform framework. As stated, the blueprint aims to transform higher education through improved access, quality, employability, governance, and national competitiveness. By addressing this interconnected area, the blueprint positions higher education as a strategic driver of socio-economic development and national progress in a globalized and knowledge-based economy. However, major implementation challenges remain. Structural barriers such as uneven funding, infrastructure gap, and digital inequality, especially between urban and rural institutions, limit the effective implementation. This challenge affects institution capacity to deliver high-quality education equally and risk widening existing disparities within the higher education system. The third issue concern is governance and institutional autonomy. Despite promoting institutional autonomy, centralized regulation and rigid governance structure restrict the real flexibility and responsiveness. This tension reduces institution ability to innovate, adapt to industry needs, and respond effectively to changing educational and economic demand. Another significant concern is weak monitoring, evaluation, and accountability mechanism. The lack of transparent, standardized performance indicator and fragmented accreditation system undermine accountability and public trust. Without reliable data, coordinated quality assurance, it becomes difficult to measure a progress, ensure the consistency, and justify the public investment in higher education. Finally, the long-term success of Blueprint depends on the sustained implementation and commitment. The Blueprint success requires sustained political commitment, evidence-based implementation, adaptive monitoring, strong collaboration, and focus on equity and inclusiveness. Only through continuous support, transparent governance, and inclusive policy can make the Blueprint achieve its transformational objective. In conclusion, while the Malaysia Education Blueprint provides a strong foundation for higher education reform, its true impact depends on effective execution. addressing implementation challenges, strengthening governance, and ensuring accountability are essential to achieve a high-quality, equitable, and globally competitive higher education system.